And here we go on our Wednesday edition of the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. We are going to talk about the Browns offense, Mary Kay. We've been doing this 21 question series. And one of the things I wrote about last week was how the Browns offense could look different this year. You've talked about it here on the podcast. You've written about it. So let's just dig into it. What could we see differently this year? I guess the first thing that pops into your mind, what could be different about this offense in 2021?
Well, the first thing that pops into my mind is that I think we'll see just a broadened, expanded passing game. And I think that we'll see that because I think Kevin Stefanski will have an opportunity to incorporate more of the thoughts and ideas that he's gotten from guys like Norv Turner and other offensive influences that he's had throughout his career. I mean, it wasn't just, Gary Kubiak showed up on the scene in his last year and he called that offense because it was going to be the easiest thing for everybody to do in Minnesota that year. And then it was going to be the easiest thing for him to transfer here and call that here because of the pandemic. And it was no time to be reinventing the wheel. So I think he's going to be drawing on experiences, not even just offensively, but across the board, but especially offensively from other influences that he's had in his career. So I think we'll see some different things in the passing game, and not only things that he's learned from guys like Norv Turner and other people that he's worked with, but, I think he's going to call upon Alex Van Pelt to provide more input on things that he has done in other places in his career, including Green Bay, where he worked with Aaron Rodgers. I think you'll see more influence from Chad O'Shea, who worked with all those years with Bill Belichick and won Super Bowl rings with the Patriots. I think you'll see more influence even in the running game and the run schemes and the blocking schemes with Bill Callahan. Again, all of those coaches, Stump Mitchell, Drew Petzing. I think that everyone was tasked with bringing something different to the table. Nobody will tell me what it is. You've heard, right, Dan? You've heard me ask the coaches, what did you bring back? What did you go find? And what I'm looking for with that question is, I remember the one year where Ryan Lindley, I think it was, said that he was going to maybe try to talk to Lincoln Riley about more like the air raid concepts and just kind of pick his brains a little bit on that, right? So that's kind of what I'm trying to get at is, what did you go out there and find? And one of these days, I'm going to get an answer from somebody, I think, if I keep trying. But if not, I think we'll see it. I think we'll see it out on the field. I think you'll see some different things that they didn't have time to put into play last year. I think those things will show up in the passing game. And I think those things will show up in Baker having more jurisdiction over calling the offense when he's on the field.
So I'm glad you went down the passing route first, because this is something that even going back to last year, and people got to dig real deep for this, because this was going into like my 5 things to watch posts that I would do pregame. And I don't know if anybody actually ever read those, but if you did, you know where I'm going with this. Out of the 10 people that read those, you're going to know what this is about. The Browns last year in the first quarters of games from let me make sure I get the week right here, from week 12 through week 17. These are the teams that passed the ball the most in the first quarter. Kansas City at 74%, Tampa at 68%, Pittsburgh at 67%, Buffalo at 64%, and then the Cleveland Browns at 63%. So they were top 5 in the NFL from week 12 on. And this is from Warren Sharp's website. From week 12 on, when it came to how many times they passed the ball in the first quarter. And that stood out to me because that is, first of all, a very analytical approach to the game, right? Passing more efficient, passing early, passing on early downs, all of that stuff. It shows that they probably trusted Baker Mayfield a little bit more. And it was just a shift from what they were doing in the first part of the season when they were really, really run heavy. And I think that's what we're going to see. I think that's the direction they're going. Again, these offenses that I mentioned, Kansas City, Tampa Bay, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, you could argue about Pittsburgh in this mix, but those other 3 are like the top tier, like modern offenses. And I think the Browns want to be considered in that mix. I think they're going to pass the ball, and I think they're going to pass it earlier.
Those teams that you're talking about are the elite teams in the NFL. and it's pass first. And I think that, I do think that we will see more of that. Now, I certainly don't think that means that this team is going to eschew or ignore the run in any way, because you can't do that when you've got Nick Chubb and you've got Kareem Hunt and you have an offensive line that can run block the way that these guys do. I don't think they're going to give up on it by any stretch of the imagination. And it will be complementary. It will be multiple. But I do think that you'll see a more diverse passing game. I think you'll see a more exotic passing game. I think you'll see things that you didn't expect. And there was some of that stuff last year, of course. But I also think that you will see Baker, now that he's grown up in this offense, have an opportunity to take the bull by the horns a little bit.